Hey, what's up? It's me, Channel Dog. How you doing? I'm pretty excited myself. We're less than a year away from the release of Sonic 4. The movie, not that little cash grab video game. And I gotta say, this is maybe the most at ease I have ever felt about one of these Sonic movies kind of going into it, because I feel like we've got all of the parts that I've been wanting to see now. The third movie was absolutely brilliant. We're getting Amy Rose in the next one. But also, we know that Jim Carrey is returning as Dr. Robotnik. And there has understandably been some concern about Jim Carrey returning as Robotnik, which is insane, as you'd think that's something that everybody would want, but I think it also speaks to the ending of the third movie and his character development that people didn't want him back. They accepted that as kind of the end for the character, and I was kind of in agreement in some sense. At the same time, though, they've made it very clear that they want this to be an ongoing series. And I think if you want an ongoing series of Sonic movies, you can't really have them without Dr. Robotnik. He is kind of just as much the main character of this franchise as Sonic is. I mean, he's the main villain. So I won't lie, a part of me was kind of relieved to see that he is still coming back for the next one, but obviously the concern is there about cheapening that previous ending. There have been a lot of theories and speculation, though. There have been some ideas that I've certainly liked more than others. My good pal Ian Waffles wanted it to be an alternate universe Dr. Robotnik to coincide with the time travel plot, but I gotta admit, I've seen enough of Marvel's What If to know that I'm really, really tired of that kind of Russian doll style of storytelling. I say that with the utmost respect. I absolutely love the guy.
You're not my Natasha, but something tells me you have her spirit.
One theory that I found quite cool was that it could be Neo Metal Sonic disguised as Dr. Robotnik, which is exactly what they did in Sonic Heroes. There's definitely a precedent for that, and with Metal Sonic in the next movie, I think a lot of people are anticipating that he could become Neo Metal. Now, I'm not taking that for granted, but I reckon we might see it. Maybe we'll see him transform into different forms. We've seen that he can turn his hand into a gun, so maybe we'll see him transform into Rocket Metal at some stage, or Neo Metal Sonic. I tell you what, I actually love the idea of seeing Rocket Metal. Why is there not a toy of him? Jeff Fowler, if you're watching this, you're not watching this, I know you're not watching this, but if you were watching this, please can we see Rocket Metal? Rocket Metal's just kinda cool. Anyway, Cinemacon's going on right now. And we've been getting lots of different previews for different movies, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm very excited about here. And they, of course, showed some footage of Sonic 4, featuring action shots of Sonic, Knuckles, Amy, I think Shadow, before showing Robotnik stumbling out of what's described as a spaceship. Maybe it's like an escape pod from the Eclipse Cannon, maybe it's the Eclipse Cannon itself, and then we next see him in a dungeon declaring that he needs to save the world. And that's all we have. It seems like the main focus of this is always going to be kind of Dr. Robotnik going forward, and I do get it. If you're going to focus on any human character, that's the one. And I am really glad to see him being treated with this reverence, because he is a great villain. But it's also apparent that they are pretty aware of the concerns that people had regarding his character development in the previous film. What he did aboard the Eclipse Cannon wasn't so much an act of self-sacrifice. He got blown up because he kind of had to get blown up. But the real dramatic moment there was him confessing his true feelings for Agent Stone. We see that there is indeed a selfless side to him, and one that is capable of love. And it looks like even if he survived that big kind of sacrificial moment, he is still going to be retaining some of the development that he gained in that moment. That being said, I wouldn't rule him out being a villain again as well. Maybe his idea of saving the world is to be the menace that we all know him to be. Less the callous villain that he was before, now more kind of just a guy with a very twisted sense of morality. Perfectly capable of compassion. Now, the fact that he's in a dungeon suggests to me that maybe he might be in the past. You don't see a lot of dungeons these days, they're not very common. If you do look at the concept art from Sonic 4, there was this art piece of Robotnik in this Emperor regalia with Metal Sonic by his side, and kind of like an Eggman land backdrop. But then if you look at the previously leaked storyboards, you can see that the scene where Robotnik gets blown up is referred to as the time travel scene. And to be fair, maybe we were jumping the gun a little bit to assume he was dead, given that Shadow was clearly able to get out of there. We do see Shadow doing kind of a group chaos control, so he probably chaos controlled out of there, brought Dr. Robotnik with him and saved him, maybe. Which is kind of a reverse of what actually happened in Sonic Adventure 2, where Robotnik saved Shadow on his way down to Earth. Then again, there was of course the teaser trailer, which played before the Mario Galaxy movie, and that teaser trailer was better than the Mario Galaxy movie. Eat me. And in that teaser, Robotnik says, "You think your world is safe, but the chaos has only just begun." That sure sounds evil. Although it could be a warning, maybe. What fascinates me about this, though, is that when he mentions that you think your world is safe, you can actually see the original Green Hill Zone in the background. When it comes to editing, there are rarely coincidences, and there are rarely accidents. Maybe he's committed to protecting the Earth because that's his own planet, and Agent Stone, the one person he cares about, is there, but now he's determined to conquer Sonic's world, which would mean we get more of those kind of environments and locations, which would be lovely. I would absolutely love if that's what's going on here. Another thing I'm thinking, though, is if he's in that dungeon saying that he needs to save the world, he already kind of did save the world in the previous movie. The world seems pretty safe. So I have a theory. He maybe built Metal Sonic and scheduled in a world domination for him, but now he's away from Earth, he can't reschedule it. He's going to come back, the world is going to be conquered in his image, but he actually had nothing to do with it and had a change of heart while he was away, so now his legacy is that he's a bad guy again, even though he wants to be a good guy. And then maybe that could be what turns him bad again. As we know, a lot of the reason why he was so callous is because he didn't really have family and that people rejected him, and that's something that Gerald really played into his insecurities in the previous one, that there's no one down there for him. So if after his really dramatic sacrifice and confession of love at the end of the last movie, he returns to Earth and the human race rejects him once again, he could maybe even become worse than before, and I think that would be a really tragic story, as it would mean that the people of Earth actually kind of created their own demon in this instance. This would also fit in quite well with, like, the IDW comics as well, though, as Dr. Robotnik, after the events of Sonic Forces, became Mr. Tinker, he became a much more virtuous guy, he's a good guy, but then Metal Sonic was the one that restored him back to his evil Dr. Robotnik glory, and boy did he come back with a passion with the whole metal virus thing. I remember how exciting early IDW was? Can we get that back, please? Oh, dude, imagine this. Picture this, right? He comes back, he's a good guy, but then Metal Sonic has taken over the world in his image. He saves the world from Metal Sonic, but gets the blame for all the Metal Sonic stuff. And then he's just like, you know what, Metal Virus time, let's do this. It'd be kind of an appropriate revenge. Like, you could kind of get behind his motivations in that instance. Oh man, I feel like that sounds kind of compelling. At the end of the day, though, I was kind of willing to sacrifice some of the weight from that moment from the previous movie if it meant that we would see Robotnik in future Sonic movies, because I don't think we've ever seen a successful ongoing version of Sonic the Hedgehog without Dr. Robotnik in there. We've seen attempts at bringing in a new main villain for Sonic with Ixis Naugus in the Archie comics, and at the end of the day, all roads always lead back to Dr. Robotnik when it comes to a main villain for Sonic the Hedgehog. Ixis Naugus didn't really catch on. I tell you what, it would be cool to see, like, another piece of Sonic media attempt Ixis Naugus. But for the movies, I think the risk is just too high. That said, isn't it kind of awesome that Jim Carrey has done 4 of these despite previously being very anti-sequel? It seems that it's just this character he's always willing to return to. And as I say, it's nice to have people involved in these movies that hold these characters with the reverence that they deserve. It does deserve to be taken seriously. It does deserve people who genuinely love these characters, because there's so much to actually really love about them. I will say, after Sonic 2 killed off Dr. Robotnik, and then Sonic 3 killed off Dr. Robotnik, I don't know if you can necessarily kill him a third time. It's like the old Toy Story thing, you know, how many times can you do the big culmination, the big ending, the big sad goodbye? But then I had another idea. What if we just made it a tradition of him dying in the most he's definitely dead ways possible, only to have him then just reappear, like that bit of Barney in The Simpsons when he shows up behind Moe after being chucked out. He could be kind of the Kenny of the Sonic universe. Fair play to him, he's very durable, clearly. Maybe people are just very durable in this universe. I mean, there have been times when, like, Maddie has definitely committed murder, when she launched those guys up into the sky and they came tumbling down later. But they survived. God, these movies are silly. But it is just very intriguing to know what, like, Dr. Robotnik's dynamic with Metal Sonic is going to be. A lot of folks speculated that maybe Metal Sonic was created by someone else, or maybe he's from the future, but I think given that Robotnik is back in this one, it just makes sense for him to be a Robotnik creation. I know that a good moot of mine over on Twitter, Justin M., incredibly talented artist, mentioned that Metal Sonic is awfully close to the source material, considering that the other robots have had a unique kind of design language exclusive to the movies, and that Metal Sonic seems to have ditched that. But I think if we're gonna have him kind of go villain again, we maybe need to see a bit more of that Dr. Robotnik kind of architecture come into play. Less of those floating egg babies and more of like the moto bugs. We already saw buzz bombers in Sonic 2 and that was really cool. I was really pleased to see them, and in that art style they looked good too. But it would be cool to see him build like a base in the next movie. We've seen him make the giant crab in the third one, but it'd be cool to see little crabs, like little crab meats scuttling around. Maybe he sends them all to Sonic's world and that's the one he's going to conquer next. There's also a few more loose ends as well, such as who are Ben Kingsley, Matt Berry, and Richard Ayoade playing? We believe them to be voice roles, so my theory is that Ben Kingsley will be Metal Sonic and his performance will be akin to the Mandarin. Since watching the SpongeBob movies with him, me and my buddy Penguin had this in-joke that Matt Berry should play Dodon Pa. I can't see them doing Dodon Pa in these movies, but maybe Matt Berry could play like Big the Cat or something? He's not gonna be Metal Sonic, is he? Oh, surely he's not gonna be Metal Sonic. He's not gonna talk in the voice of Matt Berry. You need him to be sinister, and I definitely think we need Metal Sonic to be a more serious villain when next to Dr. Robotnik as well, to match that kind of madcap energy with his more deadpan, grumpy store manager personality that he has. It does look like they are honoring that, though, in like the post-credits of Sonic 3. Either way, yeah, things are very promising. I'm very excited for this next movie. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to drop your predictions and ideas for what the kind of Robotnik, Metal Sonic dynamic could be in that next movie. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, hype the video, do whatever you gotta do. You can even dislike the video if you're feeling daring, but know that I will find you. Remember, I have an absolute zero tolerance policy on constructive criticism directed at me. Nah, but okay, now it's time for me to personally thank the patrons in the $5 and above tier. We have Manalza, KB, Twilord, Biotin, Cirrus the Skeptic, and Mr. SP. Kale Bennett, what the pup dog doing? Dare Denny, Sad Goku, Ghostly Phantom, Xander Wolf, Channel Pup, aka just another evil robot clone claiming a discarded naming right, Vera Wild, SSS06, Calex, sorry, my bad, RT0, Marv Animation, Grand Talon, Josh Strider, Silver, Ben Raven, Basic Content, Gideon Wells, Press Play to Jason, Joseph Tribble, and Cho Henshin. Thank you, generous folks, so much. You keep the lights on here at Casa del Walter. I genuinely don't know what I would do without your support. Alright, go on. Go watch something else.